Hello, I'm MC Toon, and this is the Aftershow. I have with me Carrissa. How are you doing, Carrissa?
Doing well. It was an interesting debate that we had. I feel like you did really well.
Thanks. You did very good for your first kind of. I think it was
Yeah.
a pretty serious first time to have Wit sit there.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty his shotgun approach is tough.
No, it's funny because the first person I debated who was a flat earther was just like very sweet, very mellow. We had like this long conversation, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I love you. I should have you on sometime." And then these people were like, "Oh my God, you just said something that you completely didn't say, and holy crap!" And I was like, "What the heck?" But it was interesting. It was a good experience for sure.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm arranging a few things here, producing the stream. Yeah, they did laugh at things when it's funny, we gave like the actual scientific explanation for things and then they laughed. Like they don't understand, they're mocking themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they don't understand just like the basic element of gravity, because I feel like first with gravity you view it as a force, and then when you get into like more complicated like physics and stuff, you have to understand that it's more of an effect. But I don't feel like they even like see it at all as a force, an incapacity whatsoever, or acting as a force, you know?
Yeah, they don't understand the model of it, and you can
Right.
tell they have their talking points that they parrot. They
Right.
don't understand it. Like, well, which gravity, Newtonian or Einsteinian? Well, either is fine, or
Yeah.
both. You can calculate both. They'll come up with the same number except at relativistic speeds.
Hmm.
They don't get that. I don't know. And I thought the super chats were interesting. They kept trying to go after the kind of the flat Earth mantras about space time, especially the ones
Hmm.
that Austin talks about. It's just a concept. What are the properties of it? These things, like, these people don't. None of them understand eighth grade math. Not
Hmm.
one in around 200 maybe debates. None of
Mm.
them can handle eighth grade math. None of them can solve a triangle.
Yeah.
And then they want to have space time explained to them.
Yeah.
All right. First, complete calculus.
And
Okay.
then come back.
When you're done with calculus, then let's talk.
Maybe do some differential equations.
Maybe going through, and it is difficult math. I have to say it. Going through the field equations, and then
Yeah.
I've gone through several times the derivation of the field equation. Yeah, it's challenging.
Mm.
And I've also gone through the solving of the field equations for Newtonian gravity, and so they're not incompatible, which is one thing they like to say.
Hmm.
They say it because their Papa Flurf said it.
Right.
So they don't understand that they're completely compatible. And Austin, I've listened to a few of Austin's street preaching
Hmm.
lately, and he's like, Einstein debunked Newtonian gravity, he says. Not at all. Einstein
No.
himself said, I could never do something like that. It's completely compatible with it.
Yeah. It's like an expansion of it, right? It's like, from my understanding, is this correct that it's like more than a force? So it's like it's a force to a degree, but it's more than that. Is that right?
Well,
Or
so centrifugal force is not a true force, right? When
hmm.
you're talking about true forces, there's three true forces:
Hmm.
strong force, weak force, electromagnetism. That's
Yeah.
it for the pure forces. When you push on something, that's a force, but it's due to underlying other forces.
Gotcha.
So the same thing with centrifugal force. It's due to inertia,
Hmm.
right? So something's going in a straight line and you turn that line, you turn its path, and
the vectors go like, yeah.
Yeah, and so you get the centrifugal force pushing out.
Right.
It's not a real force, but
right.
the water stays in the bucket when you spin it around. So it has an effect. So same thing with gravity in a similar manner. It's due to something happening. So I like to it's the conceptual way to think about it that our brains, I think, can handle better, is that it's the topography of the fourth dimension. So like it, and somebody in the chat, and I hadn't even thought of this way before, that, you know, you put water in a pool and there's the sides of the pool that holds it in.
Yeah.
Well, if it's the topography of the fourth dimension, then it's like a depression in the fourth dimension. And then things are held in there. That's gravity. Thought that was a great way of thinking about it. Oh yeah,
that is interesting.
I have a couple super chats here. Saeed Ahmed said Toon playing Witsit's quotes back to him was priceless.
That was hilarious.
You're so savage with your trolling, Carrissa. You did great. Outclassed the flirts.
No, I was getting a little spicy with them. So I appreciate you think that way. That you think that.
I have a handful of them after Austin debated with Ranty, and he kept going on and on about you have to include refraction. Like, Austin, you never again can do any analysis without including refraction. I have one more from Austin that I captured. Just a second. Let's play it here.
I'm a stupid flat earther, right? And I'm just a loser.
I agree.
True. These are the first true statements you said all night. What? We're just hearing them now.
Yeah, I did not use that one in I didn't need to troll that particular manner, but yeah, I pulled out 7 of those. So one thing I did on my channel, I have members and patrons get videos that I do these montages. I use them for making videos or for a couple different things. I make these montages. I'm like, well, I can give these to members and patrons, so they get to see these montages. So I put my first one out a couple days ago.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. So, oh my goodness.
I have a montage of Austin saying 7 times in a row that you have to use refraction.
That is priceless. I feel like Kai also had I feel like both of them had a great handle on the misinformation. And that's...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so it's like, if you're not really well versed in the misinformation, I feel like you either have to like go at them hard from just like, this is just basic logic, and just hold their feet to the fire. And they don't like that. It's so funny. They were getting so mad. And they would not answer what air was made out of. And I was like, this is not a difficult concept to grasp.
Yeah.
I have to have something. I have to have an alternative model. If you don't believe in the globe, there's something that has to be like an alternative theory. And they say that it's like it's implying that it's flat Earth, but they won't just nail the last nail in the coffin.
Yeah. So somehow my OBS stopped streaming.
Oh no.
I don't know, just for a little bit. So I don't know why. But they say it's back.
Okay.
So I had to start it again. It actually had stopped streaming.
Oh no.
So I'll have to keep watching that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did say 70 miles high, something like that for the sun.
And that's like, what? It's also so funny because it's like you can't reconcile the daylight and the seasons. You can't do it on flat Earth.
We know the subsolar point.
Right.
Right. There's no question. The subsolar point does not get into the continental United States.
Yeah.
Right. It crosses down in on the Tropic of Cancer. It's south of Florida.
Yeah.
So if the sun is 70 miles high and in Alaska you see the sun.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Not at all.
I feel like they
how
go ahead.
it's how crazy that is to think, because that's trivially easy to test.
Yeah.
Right. Again, and that's how you know they can't understand 8th grade math, because they can't solve a triangle. Because if it's 70 miles high, then that's easy. How far are you from the Tropic of Capricorn?
Right.
Okay, you can now draw a triangle and see the angle in the sky that it should be.
Right.
It would be like right next to the ground.
And that's also, they like waved off my moon question, because it's like, it's also like, if it were a disc, it wouldn't be like just a perfectly round disc everywhere.
Yeah,
it's just not, it wouldn't work, not mathematically.
It'd be an oval from everywhere except right below it.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense. So it
goes over their head. The geometry, again, it's math. They can't handle that math.
Right. How do you deal with these people on a regular basis?
Well, here's what I do. I want to give them an opportunity to say something really stupid, so that should somebody else come along, they say, oh my gosh, flat earth is really, really dumb, right? So you have to give them a challenge to it, though. They go to their echo chambers and they don't get challenged.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm doing that, then I'm accomplishing one of my goals, and I'm happy. So, all right, let me read another one from P. Barnes. Says, well done to both of you. That was a battle of wits with 2 unarmed opponents. Oh, that's funny. Lyric Edge says, a tip for ending my birthday with a great debate. Well, happy birthday, Lyric Edge.
Happy birthday.
I'm glad that you joined us on your birthday. And why the heck did you join us on your birthday? Why are you not out clubbing? When I turn 21, I will go out clubbing, but I'm only 13.
By their measurements, like another 10 years, give or take.
Something like that.
Maybe, but that's only a theory.
It's only a theory. Saeed Ahmed, again, he says, curious, did anyone count how many times Whitsitt and Kai completely dodged questions? It's amazing how arrogant they are and can't answer something as simple as the composition of air.
Isn't it though? Or then they have like these double standards. It's like we don't even, the most important, like even with the seasons and the sun and how the earth is tilted, like the main part is the earth being tilted toward the sun, and then they don't even know that, but then they expect other people to like, what? And it's like, this is your thing.
And she's like,
Come
you don't
on.
even know your own model. Like, hold on a second.
I came into this knowing that gravity was in effect, and I specifically said full. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I feel like I'm just losing my words. But I was like, I know that this is just like looking like a force. It's acting as a force. I understand that it's not technically a force, but for all intents and purposes in this conversation, it's a force.
Yeah. In our Newtonian frame of reference. Well, I have this on the screen right now. I have this from Whitsitt. It's a post on Whitsitt put on his Facebook. It said, I have to admit, I definitely took an L on that one. Props to MC Toon, more than worthy opponent that I drastically underestimated. Whitsitt, Austin Whitsitt, 1 minute ago.
No way.
Well, that might have been from December 2019.
That's awesome that he actually posted that.
That was after our first debate.
Really?
Yeah, but I do keep that one around. I like that one.
Just put it as your screensaver.
I post it every time I debate him. I put that up, and he hates it so much. So here's the deal. They don't understand science. They think they do because they've heard it from their Papa Flurfs. None of them can cite any things about their science. Like, they think it proves things. Science doesn't prove things. So I don't use the word prove. In informal language, we use it to mean lots of evidence, right?
Yeah.
But in the strict sense, you don't prove things. So I got one list from a website that I think is Knowledge is Power, and there's a nice article on there. I'm gonna pull it up. that talks about the difference between pseudoscience and science denialism. And flat earthers use both of them. So pseudoscience has super low standard of evidence, claims that you can prove things, doesn't control for conflating variables, it things like that. And so when they're looking for evidence for flat earth, they embrace pseudoscience. When it comes that, so then there's science denialism, which has an impossibly high standard of evidence. Basically, they reject everything. It claims, basically throws out everything. So there's this really nice article on knowledge is power, drawing distinctions between those two things. So give me a second.
Oh, that's interesting. It's very hypocritical, but I feel like it's easy for that double standard to not be very obvious for a lot of people.
Yeah. So after reading them, like, that is, yeah, it's not knowledge is power. It's not. I'm gonna have to. All right, you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with, how you wound up being in this debate.
So my husband's a YouTuber, so that I think kind of segued me in a little bit to helping James out. And then I spoke to Rose, who is a flat earther. And I honestly feel like you had a good debate. Her biggest point was she saw something on the horizon that she shouldn't have been able to see. But she was using the incorrect formula. So what I did after the debate is I actually found the correct formula and I calculated it for her, and it should have been in her line of sight. And it was interesting because she specifically said that was what made her look into flat Earth. I think she was using the parabola formula, which it doesn't always work because the Earth is not parabolic, it's spherical.
That's a common thing. The problem with that formula isn't that it's parabolic. It's close enough that formula actually is accurate. It's perfectly accurate when used as intended. It's not telling us how much is obstructed, and that's what they use it for. It is the drop in something. So if you can see something, right?
Yeah.
And then you use a theodolite to establish a horizontal line, and then turn down to that position. That's what it's talking about, right? And so,
right.
But it has nothing to do with how much is obstructed. For that,
right.
You have to take into account the observer's height, and where in that formula is the observer's height?
Yeah,
it's nowhere.
Right. And also you have to see if you can see the base of the object, or if you can just see, like, if it's a building, of course you're going to be able to see it from like far away, because it's taller and you're taller, right? So you're going to have a much longer distance of viewership. But then it's also different if you're looking at it from the ground and you're looking at trying to find the base of whatever object you're looking at too. I think that
so there is a way to use that particular formula to predict how much should be hidden. And but it's a two-part. First step is you need to get the distance to the horizon, which we talked about with Austin.
Right. Yeah.
1.22 times the height of the observer in feet. Whatever times.
Yeah.
I'm quoting it wrong. It's not my mantra like it is Austin's. That gets you to the horizon edge.
Yeah.
And then you use 8 inches per mile squared to get how much is obstructed from that point.
That makes sense.
So if you're at a high elevation, that's a huge distance to get to that particular horizon point. And they completely ignore that and pretend that it doesn't exist. So, all right, I have here, right here, it is thinking is power. And I do see, yes, there's some super chats I'm gonna get to. So I'll put this in the the live chat link here. It's Science and Its Pretenders, Pseudoscience and Science Denial. So there's a nice little chart here. There you go. Follows evidence to conclusion. Science does that. And Science Pretenders works backwards from the desired conclusion. Flat earthers start with the earth is flat. Science minimizes biases. Pseudoscience wants to believe, and science denialism doesn't want to believe. You think about that. When you give a flat earther evidence for the globe, they don't want to believe. Science objectively evaluates. Pseudoscience has a very low standard of evidence, and science denial has an impossibly high standard of evidence. So anyway, that's in there in the chat for people if you want to read that.
Interesting.
It's a fantastic article. So let's see. Fat Man says, I sent a super chat asking Winston how he managed to look more homeless than Nathan Thompson, and James wouldn't read it. Yeah, I guess I can see why he wouldn't read it. And I don't know. I guess I can. James is very consistent. Attack the argument, not the person. So
yeah, it's very true. He does not like attacks on looks, especially.
Yeah. Also, seriously, Nathan still looks more homeless than Austin. Fat Man says, I think Carrissa. I think Kai was embarrassed about her BOS in behavior. That's why she wouldn't answer. Oh, her BS.
That makes sense.
In behavioral science, yes.
I wasn't even trying to be demeaning. I was generally just wanting to know, because like Bachelor of Science covers so many things. And it sounds like when you say it to a layperson, it sounds like you're actually talking about like, not to put down like behavioral science, but it sounds like you're talking about like in the lab type of science. I'm just wondering, like, okay, is it biology or is it psychology or is it like earth science? What is it? Like broad spectrum.
Yeah. All right. I'm doing a poll for who looks more homeless. Yeah. So it was pretty apparent when she didn't want to answer.
Yeah.
That it was not a relevant field.
Yeah.
And if you go to Facebook, there's lots in these groups, people like who what flat earther has a degree, an actual degree, and they do.
Yeah.
But then people ask, what flat earther has a degree in a hard science?
Yeah.
None do.
You're not going to find it.
You might find biology, right?
Yeah.
Which is starting to get on the little softer side, I got to be honest, right? It's not it's not science, or it's not physics, it's not chemistry.
Right.
Engineering. There's one engineer who's left the flat earth, and he proposed this is funny. You tell me what's wrong, if there's anything wrong with this. He said, let's force the line, he called it. Let's build a structure that goes straight and doesn't follow the curve of the earth. It's just straight. We'll take a 10-foot section and we'll put another 10-foot section up to it, another 10-foot section up to it, go over and over and over. Right? And then after a mile or 2 miles or 3 miles, if the earth is curved, the earth will have curved down, and the structure will stay, will rise up. Do you see any problems with that?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of issues because you're not necessarily taking into account elevation.
Well, there's an engineering problem with that.
And also you're building it on the ground, and I'm not very familiar with like the applied engineering stuff. All right. But
so you're studying mathematics, right? Yeah. So the problem is tolerances. Over the course of an entire mile, you need to build a structure that's so rigid that it does not flex 8 inches.
Oh, that makes sense.
How do you build a structure that rigid?
Is there any material that could even potentially be that rigid?
No, there's no material that rigid. It's just, it doesn't exist. So you'd have to, I mean,
all I know is I came in while you're talking about how you could build the most rigid structure, and I just thought Flat Derp would have loved to tear that apart. If I just started recording the moment I came in, it would have been perfect. Or continue, Flat Derp, right? I mean, this in the most innocent of ways. It would be hilarious. The one time I was talking to Team, and when we were done, we were like, Brainy, sent that whole thing. I'm out. Yeah, go ahead, please, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. That's Brainy.
Nice to meet you.
He talks a lot.
Hello.
We love him. We love him. Are you going to be on camera, or should I?
Yeah, I'm just fixing. Yeah.
I mean, people might appreciate if you're not. I'm kidding.
You'll be on the homeless pole.
No, he does not look homeless. He definitely. He owns a razor. Okay, let me read this
I had no idea what you look like. Just for the record, you could. This is not a personal slight.
You'll see in a second. He's a handsome man.
I'm sure.
I jest. I don't jest. He really is. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I can't make up my mind. All right. Lael says, I'm the best flurf and can beat any glober in a debate. He's not a real flurf. He's actually not even a very good fake flurf. But thank you, Lael. You are definitely the best flurf.
Definitely.
Let's see. Planar Walk says, Carrissa, is your husband's name Hunter Avalone?
You got it. That's him.
So what does he do?
He does politics. So he rose to notoriety as relatively far right. And then recently moved much more center, slightly left, depending on what sphere you're talking about. So like a soc dem type of thing. So that's kind of social democrat. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
social democrat. So we're not like the far like socialists, but we're just like, hey, let's have some safety nets and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what he does now. So he's like a political commentator and he does debates. Are you familiar with like Lawrence Southern, that crowd?
No, I don't do much politics.
He like debates like far right people a lot, and sometimes far left people.
Cool. There you go. Planar Walk nailed it. And we got the Logical Hillbilly says for $5. I knew when she said behavioral science that could only mean one thing. Witsit is a test subject. Oh, that's awesome.
Poor Witsit.
Oh, poor Austin.
Hi, Brainy.
Hello.
I promise I meant no offense by anything that I said.
No, you can't offend me. Are you kidding? Okay, I mean, you can. It takes a little bit, though. I mean, you have to work on it a bit. So, either that or you say something dirty about Canada, and that's it. We're knife fighting at dawn.
No, he's not. He's saying sorry if you say something mean about Canada.
I will probably apologize, but I'm still very angry. But listen, I'm going to tell you right now, me and Trump share one thing in common. It's that we're not allowed on Twitter.
Are you serious? Are you banned?
I may have said I hope they hang somebody, okay? The person is being tried for a crime. This is not like a drive-by hope hanging. But I will, without getting into it, when I get a new account, which will for official and actual reasons, because I'm actually banned and they make it very difficult. It's not going to be me, but it's going to be my agent, likely my wife, and she will not be speaking on my behalf. She'll be on the channel's behalf as an agent of the channel, not me, because I'm not allowed to be on Twitter. Because like you can't be me on Twitter either at that point. Like you can't, like she couldn't tweet on my behalf, or else all of a sudden they ban her because I'm banned on Twitter. So it can't be like my voice on Twitter.
Hunter had the same
That's
thing.
okay.
He was banned.
Yeah.
And he says his account's run by his manager and he has gotten away with it. He has used that thing that you put on so your IP gets scrambled.
You have to, because here's what they do. They IP log your it's way worse. Okay, so at some point when you were a naughty boy in the past, they go verify your phone number for us. And you're like, oh, sure, here you go. And they're like, oh, thanks. Here's your code to get back in. And then they're like, the dickhead just gave us his phone number. So then later, when you get in trouble again, and anyways, when you three strike it, they go IP ban, which is so your house is essentially banned, which I'm like, how does that work if I had roommates though? Like, is that honestly like they would have trouble they would have trouble starting an account?
Maybe.
So that whole house, so the house gets banned because that's my understanding.
Well,
basically,
and you can,
the IP address is banned.
Depending on your ISP, you can get a different IP address too.
Oh no! So here's what you have to do. I've already figured it out. But so here's the kicker: is that but for legal and honest reasons, like it will not be ran by me. It's going to be official Brainy Beaver account. But even to do it now, in order to do it, they log your IP address. So you have to get a VPN. You can never log back in without running the VPN first. Like before you check your Twitter, you have to be like, is my VPN on? And or else their system will go bang like that eventually. And then you have to, your cannot be the same, like, or even remotely the same. You really shouldn't use the same avatar. You can't link, if you had like a YouTube channel or other things like blogs or things, you can't link back to them in your description, especially not immediately until their system has like deleted the old data, I guess, because it's looking for that. And then they log the international mobile identification number of your actual phone too. So not only is the IP address blocked.
How do they do that?
I have no idea, but apparently they get that somehow through their information and they log that.
Sounds
it's like
a bit magical.
But that's like your phone. Isn't that your phone's MAC address essentially? That's all it is.
Yeah, but your MAC address is behind whatever device you're sitting on.
Yeah, but that's what I read, is that it banned, because then what happens is that phone is smoked. Like you can't log in on that phone anymore. Apparently that phone is like, even I asked FTFE, I'm like, how did you get back on Twitter? He's like, well, I needed a new phone number anyways. And I'm like, so you literally got a new phone and a new phone number?
Yeah,
He's
so
like,
a new phone number, yes, but
and then he has to have a VPN.
But
at home.
Here's the deal: your MAC address is not.
I don't know shit about that.
Yeah,
so.
when you're behind a firewall, your MAC address is not exposed.
Well, my bad. But either way,
Yeah.
but either way, you can't. Yeah, but apparently I can't do it from this phone. There's something that they have put cookie wise, or like aside from a factory reset and then never using it without a VPN running. Apparently I would have to factory reset.
Yeah, there are other ways, certainly.
Have you done incognito? Have you tried incognito?
No, but incognito doesn't matter because the house is banned. So you have to so there's a couple ways to do it. You have to get a burner phone or use like somebody else's phone number. Like I can use.
Brainy has lots of burner
you get
phones. You know.
No, I don't know for burner phones. Burner phones in Canada do not work like in America. I can't go to a vending machine and buy a $20 phone. Like I have to pay like $150, and then they'll make me pay X many dollars a month minimum, or else the minutes expire. They're way more expensive here. So you have to get a burner phone. So you're gonna get a new phone number. And then you have to always run a VPN at your house. You have to change all those details of your ats and everything, new email and all that. And then even if apparently you don't give them a phone number now and you only run it from like the web app, and like you don't need the phone kind of thing, is what you figure, is that no matter what, it'll like let you use it for like a day. And then they're like, ha, verify your phone number, please. Like, and then it just locks your whole account down again until you verify your phone number. So no matter what, they're going to force you to get another phone. So what it does is I said to somebody though, I said, but you know what this does? That just restricts it so that people that can't afford to go around their systems by replacing the phone, getting a new number, running a VPN, they just really keep people that can't afford that out. It's really kind of a stupid system. Of course, if you have people telling them this is his account and he's banned, but again, I won't be. It's not going to be me.
Does Twitter is Twitter that like YouTube sucks at that, right? Because Dan Pratt gets a new account all the time.
Twitter people, you go on the forums and you look on Reddit, and it's people going like I've tried 3 different, I've tried new emails. I get a new phone number. You can't even use, like, if you use one of those burner phone number apps online where you buy a phone number for a couple bucks just to get like a text verification and stuff, like where you pay it. $2
those phone numbers are those numbers are known.
Well,
Yeah.
and it just bucks them immediately. Boom, your account gets deleted for ban evasion. And then, but yeah, so apparently you just have to make sure you do a bunch of things. Of course, if there's somebody that keeps tattling on you because you're a horrid person and they keep on telling on you in mass and saying that person's banned, I mean, yeah, but no, they're way more like it was like they're way more aggressive. Apparently,
it's true. They are. You can get it. They let up over time, though. They do.
Well, they delete all your data after about 10 weeks. So what I said is I'm just going to not, because what I think their system probably also does if I was them is it would immediately be on search and destroy like the Matrix, like those sentinels in the tubes, you know what I mean? Like that's how because let's face it, you've got these people you banned and it's like, I'll show you, I'll just start a new account. And then so like, I personally think their system is on absolute definitive search and destroy initially, and then like you said, it probably lets up over time, because I know that at 10 weeks after they've like officially banned your account, it deletes, they start deleting the data from their database,
that would
actually
make sense.
like purging it. So at that point it doesn't, but they apparently don't delete all the other information they collect.
Brandon, we don't care.
I agree.
We don't care about Twitter.
No, I don't care either.
Yep. And on that note, P. Barnes says hashtag stop censoring Brainy. Which I just did.
No,
Mr. King Sleepy, first name Sofa, says congrats. Tune and Carrissa, beware the beaver.
I like your name. I can identify with it right now. I'm so tired. So I appreciate your name.
Magellan.
He hasn't asked about the vanilla yet, so we'll talk that another.
I've got right here. I've got vanilla right here.
My mom gave me one too. Didn't you have one that was coming my way? Except it got like ruined by COVID, I think.
Yeah, I mean we need the mule to bring it across the border.
Don't actually.
That's
with hair like that, they're gonna pull him over and search him one day.
Yep. So Magellan from Singapore says MAC address is not available from the browser. It would have to be an app running on the phone to get the MAC address. Hi from Singapore.
Sorry, they'd have to say that again. My bad.
They can't get a MAC address from the browser. It'd have to be an app running on the phone, which the Twitter app is, to get the MAC address.
See, so that's what it is. So, they take your mobile. So what it is your phone is done. Like that phone is pooch. What happens is if with this phone now, if I use this specific phone, especially even VPN or not, if I log into Twitter app with this phone ever again, it will smoke the new account because it immediately goes, there you are. Boom.
We know
it just
you.
Kills it.
All right. Mallory.
So anyway, sorry.
Mallory for $5 Canadian dollars says, I missed the debate, but I heard Witsit won. My condolence. Turns out Witsit didn't bring any thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's just misunderstandings. That's all it is.
I turned my mic up a little bit, so I want to be aware of that.
So,
was it too loud or too quiet?
How do I turn you down? I'm kidding.
Well, no, but if I need to turn it down, just let me know. I'll turn it down a bit more. It was
fine.
at -16, so I didn't know what was coming out at that point.
So the poll is not done yet, but the poll is 136 votes. Who looks more homeless? Nathan gets 68% of the votes.
Oh, poor Nathan. Who is Nathan?
Nathan Thompson is Austin's ex-boyfriend, friend, bromance
Until he
friend.
Stole all the money out of their joint account and took off into the
it wasn't a
Are you
joint
serious?
account. So yeah,
in a way,
Austin and Nathan are flat Earth bromance buddies, and
so sweet.
They started this tour. So Austin flew to South Carolina, I think, from Tennessee, and they met there with a guy that has a camper, big RV, and they started driving around. They got to Florida, and Nathan would ask, donate money to our tour, and here is my information to receive that money.
Oh no.
And then at one point they got into a fight because Nathan is more of a narcissist than the rest of them.
He was drinking like imported beers and shit.
Oh yeah,
like
so
that.
so the money that was for the tour, Nathan went and bought a bunch of beers with and was was like wrecking people's things, and he's just kind of a rude person. So they got into
They're
a fight.
surprised.
They got into a fight, almost got physical. Would have been fantastic to see that. Be like hobo fights in the backyard. And then Nathan left. And all the money that people had been donating was donated to Nathan. He had it all. So he had about $800, and he's just gone. And leaving Austin and the guy that owns the RV and one or two other people without that money, and the RV broke down.
This belongs in Breaking Bad. Are you kidding me? This is crazy.
And Austin gets on YouTube and has like this I'm not gonna rat out Nathan video where he rats out Nathan. And then
when did that happen too?
That was a
Because
few
I feel
months
like
ago.
I did.
It was like April, May.
It must have been earlier than that. Even I remember doing a video where, and it was a skit, but I can't remember if it was for somebody else's channel. I feel like it was in the end, but it was like Nathan, like I was basically like I was putting it on like it was like he was handicapped, and this was like one of those Make-A-Wish kind of things. And it was like you could see his face light up, you know. It was like when the you know, and it had the clips all put together with beautiful music and stuff, and you know, it was like the whole reveal moment where the bus showed up and they were gonna take him on his little adventure.
So anyway, so that's what happened. Then the tour that they were on, then they're both on separate tours for a while. But Nathan burned all his bridges. All of the people that used to give him money they're all giving money to Austin to complete to work on their tour. And Nathan eventually drove back home to California to his parents' house, and I think his mom, because his parents are remarried, so it's his mom's house. I think basically said, you need to go get a job. So he went and got a job harvesting at a pot farm in California.
Are you
Who
serious?
is this?
That's Nathan. Yeah. So
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if it's good.
No.
Yeah, listen, it's good old.
it's just
hard work,
the
you know?
jokes about him, consuming the harvest were abundant.
Just see him with like a bowl out there, like a bong carrying around.
And he put videos of him working. Like he recorded himself. Like, yeah, that's what people do. That's what normal people do. They work. And he thought it was so novel. He'd record himself working.
That's
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like, you know, it's like that moment in Ted where they're like, you know, they do move in herds when they like came across the big field. You don't understand, MC. I don't think
I didn't see that.
It's a culture thing. No, what they did, they played the Jurassic. They found a big field of cannabis, and they played the Jurassic Park music from the first scene where they finally see the dinosaurs. And
I see.
They were like, you know, getting out of the Jeep and everything, and they're like, you know, and you get it, they're in awe of the field and everything. It's funny.
Maybe I'll just fall
funny.
asleep and start eating tons.
Well, and then they're at the campfire 10 seconds later, and there's like big stalks of it laying beside them, like they've just broken branches off. Anyway.
Nice. Anyway, so there's Nathan. He says he's leaving Flat Earth, which is probably for their benefit. He was a mess, and as somebody said, so Austin's the more sensible of the two. Yes, Austin is currently the more sensible of the two, but Austin is just where Nathan was like 2 or 3 years ago. It's a spiral, right? They first start where, you know, they look like a normal person, and then they're in a contest to see who's the most homeless looking, like
I
they
said
are right
this
now.
during the stream.
Right. And then
he's turning into Santa Claus slowly, except without the weight.
Oh, yeah. So then eventually, right, like everything spirals into nothingness because you just can't go on and on forever on the same stuff. It just gets old. And so Austin, I don't know if you've seen this, Austin does now street preaching about flat Earth. I mean,
No.
You mean he
Really?
does Bill Nye the Science Guy?
he does that too. But I mean, he's a street evangelist for flat Earth.
No.
He sets
It's
up
like-
a microphone, live streams it to YouTube, goes city to city. And so he's in Vegas right now, where apparently KY, his girlfriend, is.
You were right. You were right, by the way. I'm sorry. You were right.
Yep. So I'm right. We were
What was he right
talking
about?
before.
Yeah,
we were talking
okay.
before that I thought that KY was his girlfriend. I knew that there's only two pieces of information I had to think this. Austin's Facebook status came up in my feed saying that he was in a relationship. Did not state who or anything like that. And number two, the picture on the thumbnail of KY that has wearing the shirt that says "Don't make it weird," which is one of his statements, one of his mantras.
To be honest with you, if my name was KY or my initials were KY,
Just add an S.
Every avatar would be
KY.
a KY jelly or like a KY liquid or a KY. Just because that's my kind of attitude. That's funny to me.
That is well, in the chat, people would type her name and they would capitalize it actually in the modern day debate chat.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I could not, and these were her people. I could not stop seeing jelly after it.
I said this during your.
I
like,
wasn't.
Is that KY jelly
I
or
could
KY?
not.
That's
could not
exactly
have been
what I said
watching
while you were on. Oh
your
my God, it was
your
amazing.
version of it. So yeah, I think everybody.
I don't think you copied
Oh
me.
my
I just
gosh.
think it's so great
That's
minds,
funny.
you know.
Absolutely, and yours. All right, let's see. King Edward V.
Good times.
Wow, he's still kicking. Good. Man, back from the grave. He says, "Good debate tune. Witsit doesn't understand anything."
I was watching Henry VIII 8.0 the other day on my stream. He's still alive too, eh?
Henry
VIII. Yeah.
King Edward.
He got no, that was Henry VIII. You go later. We'll talk. But yeah, no. He was sending Twitter. He was sending Twitter memes to the Pope. He got blocked. You know, he was very upset.
PhD Tony's for shame, Tune. You're usually so wholesome. I don't believe it or not. Wholesome people can use KY jelly.
I could see the sweat of. I want you to know while you were debating that I could see the sweat of desperation or anger. I'm not. The Flurfs thinks it was desperation. I want to say it was annoyance of dealing with it.
I didn't even try to hide it. I was just like, you guys are crazy.
Oh my God. Hey, nice silver button, by the way. Congratulations. I mean,
that's my husband's, but like, thanks.
Oh, well, congratulations to anybody that has a damn silver button anyways. What channel is your husband? Do you mind?
No, it's just Hunter Avalon. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's just political stuff.
Oh, you said it during the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Stringer News 1 says, I heard that Witsit is fresh out of straw for strawmans.
It's funny.
Absolutely. And yeah, the flatties in the chat were noticing that I kept saying that. Like, that's all he does.
Yeah.
KY did it too, about the distance of the sun to the earth and sun.
Or even like the degree thing. It's like when I was asking you to be more specific about your degree, I wasn't being demeaning. What the heck? Are you projecting? Like what?
Yeah. And then I saw, let's see. Mr. Sleepy says, joining just because the debates are always epic, and I'm pretty sure I watched every show, and I know as a software engineer, we need enough MC2. We need smiles, even though MC2 mispronounces my username. And conveniently, Mr. Sleepy, first name Sofa, middle name King, is a new member. Thank you very much for being a new member. Be sure to check out the montage of Austin saying either bro or gamma a whole bunch of times. I think it's the gamma one.
Oh
It's
my
trying to be a
God.
Sigma male.
All I think of him saying is electrostatic. When he was saying electrostatic to you 1,000 times, I put on this. You should. I don't believe you'll get a copyright claim, but I put on like 3 seconds of him being like that electrostatic. Remember? Because it's like see, like I know I pay for Epidemic Sound. I don't think you do. I know
No.
FTFE does. Yeah, so like I know that song I could play on FTFE's channel because it's an Epidemic Sound that the guy used for the song. So, but no, I only did like 3 seconds of it. So you shouldn't get a claim. Let me know if you do. I mean, you can just cut it out if you do, but it's a bitch.
Yeah, that and it kills the the live chat.
Kills the I know exactly which, but
I don't know why you have
to.
to.
I think.
I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't know why it has to do that. It already saved the live chat. Like
It's
it's the
separate,
data
yeah.
is there. It just cut it out.
I don't know.
But YouTube's like that sometimes. You know, sometimes copyright comes into, you know, you'll be a stupid thing where that's a feature that Twitch did first, so you can't, you know.
Well, it's an amazing thing. If there's music in your video, you can just click a button and YouTube will take out the music. It's really, really cool.
Like freaking 10 hours.
Takes
though.
forever.
Oh my
It takes
goodness.
forever. But it does it, and it's really good.
It's really
But
good at
but
it.
somehow, if you do that, it can't keep the live chat.
Like
A completely unrelated thing.
I can remove all traces of this audio from this section so we can at least hear you talking, and that doesn't ruin it. But that stream of words going by, there's nothing we can do to preserve this. Oh, I agree. It's everybody says, but that's why we started putting it. I mean, yeah, it eats up space, but we put it on the screen a bit because then in the worst case scenario, it's still there. But I agree, it's not the same as. I mean, let's face it. Most people aren't watching live streams overlaid or in.
They do. I get 500 live views, and within a couple days, there's 5,000 views on a debate.
Well, la D, Mr. I'd be debates. Yeah, I don't do debates. So if I did more, my debates.
Yeah.
Like everybody's, they do.
Yeah,
more.
like after shows. I'm surprised.
They're more evergreen debates. Like people want to listen to stupid people forever.
Yeah, I get comments about after shows days later. I'm like, you were watching that? Awesome, thank you.
Don't get me wrong. Like when people are like, I listen to you while I work, and I'm like, why would you want to listen to me? Well, you try to have a good day.
You're pretty entertaining. You're pretty.
Well,
don't sell yourself.
I'm a little
short.
loud. I know. I like to tease myself. That's how you have fun with yourself. Though.
No, I think you're cool, and I think you're definitely someone who people I'm sure will find entertaining, which is awesome.
I'm gonna play this on the speaker.
Brady, you totally should start a
that,
channel. You should start a channel, Brainy.
I should start a channel. Sure. You know what I should do is I should put content on the one I have already.
Okay, that's a better idea.
Oh shit!
I love.
Honestly, I pulled home like a trailer full of furnaces and air conditioners the other day, so I was like,
what is that?
A couple more weeks.
So random.
Oh, just being busy.
I love it. Oh,
remember HVAC? That's my business.
Yeah. So he does these skits, and I love your skits, Brainy. So I have an idea for a skit that I want to do with you. I'll get you on that.
I've been then, and actually the kid goes back to the boy. He goes back to school in a couple days, so then I can actually have because he plays Xbox down here in the morning and stuff like that, and Roblox and things like that. So I usually set up the green screen over here if I'm going to do some stuff. And of course, right now it's like, green screen. I'm trying to play games, Dad. So now I'll be off at school for 8 hours in the day, but I got to wait till I'm caught up so I can, because fall comes hard and fast.
So get this. One of my kids loves Monopoly.
Okay.
Another one of my kids really likes Roblox. My youngest likes Roblox. And another one of my kids is at camp right now for over a month. And so I sent him from Amazon. And he hates to play Monopoly. So what did I send him while he's at camp? Roblox Monopoly.
No.
God.
So he's there. He's surrounded by everybody.
You're such an asshole.
He opens it up. He's like, Dad.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
Don't worry. I sent him cookies. I sent him Swedish fish.
I'm kidding about it.
I sent him. We sent him a bunch of stuff. So we went up there yesterday to see him, like to just visit for the day. And you know what he did? What a nice kid. He played Monopoly with us.
Oh,
there you go.
He's
That's nice.
Such a good kid.
That's sweet. That makes me happy.
Oh, hey, is Planner Walk what time is it? Yeah, you might be looking for a link if you got one for him.
Oh yeah. I'll do that. All right, now
hey, look what
Carrissa, hold on,
Okay.
Brainy. Carrissa,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
let's get you're getting tired. I can
I
tell
am.
you're kind of coming
I'm
down.
fading.
So let me
Sliding deeper into the chair.
let me
Literally. I've
give you
shrunk.
that
Oh wait, I'm the horizon and I'm shrinking down. I'm the radius of the earth. I'm changing.
There you go.
All right, so what are your final thoughts of this particular debate?
I told it to them and I stand by it. I feel like they're spineless. I feel like they don't understand their depth level. So like I don't understand some stuff. So like with the whole space-time stuff, I don't understand it. I will tell you that. And I don't feel like they're at that level. I don't think they understand it, but they're not at the level of admitting that. But I think they engage still in that conversation, and I think that leads them to like a false sense of confidence. And honestly, they just don't know. They don't know what they're talking about. And at the same time, they don't have any other alternative positions that they will even present. Because here they're talking about black swans and like, oh, casting doubt here, here, and here. But then even if they had like literally any flat earth position they could hold, it could be instantly struck down, but they won't even commit to that. So I feel like they're spineless. I feel like they didn't fully understand what they were talking about, but they understood enough to obfuscate. And that's what I took away from it. I thought you did really, really well. And I was really impressed with how you handled it. So that's also another thing.
Beating sweat of annoyance.
True. He had more self-control than I did.
Oh no. He eventually I lose my shit is because I get to the point of just I can't handle the ignorance of it's fine to not know things. It's you can't bulldoze forward when you're clearly illiterate even.
Yeah.
Well, Carrissa, it was great to have you. You did a good job, and I think you if you want to do more, you do great. And I know so you do some.
I've seen her before. She's on.
Yeah,
she's
you
on
moderate
there all the time, right?
You moderate sometimes.
Is that what?
Yeah.
It is? Yeah, I knew I recognized her.
Not as much, just because I've been really, 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 really busy recently. But I think I will more in October.
Cool. Well, you're always welcome here. If you want a debate platform, you don't want it to be on Modern Day Debate, you can. I do them Tuesday nights. So if you have a flat earther you like to debate, bring them here. That's an option always.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you and all of your insight into this. So, but I will catch you later.
All right. Thanks, Carrissa.
Bye.
We have Planar Walk with us now. Or
sorry,
Wolfie 3010 as
Wolfie 3010.
I'm sorry if I'm not the same person as Carrissa.
Well, they were appreciating your choker necklace in the chat here.
Oh yeah,
very pretty.
Yeah, like I've got like a whole lot of chokers. Like I've got this one here is probably my favorite. But yeah, I also like this one as well, which I think I've worn in a video. Maybe I'm not sure.
You must have said
no, I don't think I'm
with that one.
I don't think I've
right.
What?
You set people off though in the comments when you wear them, right?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I've worn this one in a video. When I was doing
That's so awesome though.
What is it? I was doing Pauline Carrissa.
Fred Knotts. Fred Knotts says Planar Walk shows up and the girl leaves.
That's funny.
Oh, that's funny.
So
I mean, how much of it did you like play and how much of it did you just talk about stuff? So I didn't watch the watch party. Of course, it was happening at the same time. That was for
Sorry, say it again. I was
no, it's
spaced
okay.
out.
Planer Walk can answer.
There was a hot chick on my left monitor. I was just lost.
So I'd say that for the most part, I think we just talked about what element is more explosive.
Unobtainium or fluorphidium.
Well, we were talking about all kinds of shit. We talked about, I don't know how we got there because that's ADHD, but we were there at one point. No, it was when you guys were talking about elements and how they're floating. We were talking about lightness and all that stuff. See, there was a path, I promise. You'll have to watch it. It was a good stream, I think, but yeah, that's me. I didn't yell at any of your fans, and they were actually very nice to me.
Yeah, because I watched part of when you did the same thing for FTFE, and there was
They were so mean.
I know, he cried himself to sleep that night.
It was sad. Okay, I went in there with all my hopes and dreams, and they dashed them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, though, please. You're gonna say.
Stringer News 1 says it's a deep dive into the ADHD pool.
Oh no! I mean, that's my entire life. This pool is thick. It's like heavy water in here.
Oh my gosh, it's funny. All right, the poll is still going. It's still changing. But Nathan is still winning 69-31 with 192 votes.
I'm a child. I'm gonna say.
Okay, I gotta say about PJC Net. That comment is kind of creepy. Planet Walk is still young, plenty of time to wake up to the flat Earth. I don't know. That just gives me a creep vibe.
But
I don't even know
PJC
how
Net,
old you are.
it's not flat. We just do this for fun. You realize that? Like, this isn't.
Look how cool.
We don't take you seriously. You don't have a map.
You can do voice meter on your tablet.
Oh,
I mean,
that's random.
even I have a map.
It's awesome tech.
You have a map?
That wasn't meant to happen.
I know
I am
that Dora
random.
Dora
I'm
the
a
Explorer
teacher.
sings about having a
Treats
map.
me like I'm a child. Oh, that's random. How sweet of Granny.
All right, what's this map?
I mean, I've got this map here. Like, I've had this since I was like really young.
Which was a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, like
Oh, my
MC Toon, you're 13, right? And
Yes.
I
Definitely.
am younger than you, so
Yeah. He was really young yesterday. So, Brainy, I bought some maple syrup today
Oh, did you?
at a flea market thing.
That's is it nice local wildflower honey?
No, it was not honey, it was maple syrup.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking about. I'm starting to fade a bit,
You're-
but yeah, I was thinking about my bees. Sorry, yeah, maple syrup's good shit. You know what do you do?
But this guy, he would steep things in
Oh
the
my
syrup. So he's got like coffee flavored maple syrup. Like when it must have been when it was hot, like he would steep the coffee in it and then maybe reduce it after. Or he had spruce tips.
Yeah, that would do it.
Spruce tips maple syrup. And he also had birch syrup.
Well, no, but oh yeah,
We got some
Wait,
birch
wait,
syrup.
no, but you can do birch. You can do birch syrup out of just birch trees. It's identical. Okay, so here's the thing.
I
It's-
own some now.
Well, you need a lot. So the thing is, it's okay. So
Yeah, the ratio is
like,
crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you can make syrup that is just as delicious from birch as maple. The problem is that for maple, you already need, what's the ratio of how many trees you need to make like one like cup or something? It's like a liter. It's like a liter of or a quart of syrup takes like 20 or 30 trees of sap or something, and it's like you need 20 times the birch trees. Like the ratio of how much to, it's like one quart, you need 20 quarts of birch to
all
make
right.
1 quart of maple.
We got it. The ratio's different.
Hey, it's delicious though.
In the poll, I ended the poll, 194 votes. Who looks more homeless? Nathan, 69%, Austin, 30%, for a total of 99%. I don't know how that happens. YouTube.
I do
Your
have
math. Trouble with your math.
I just
there.
have to say nice to the percentages there for Nathan.
Maybe if you're like hidden in the chat or something, your vote gets negated.
I don't know. I've seen them be wrong when they're in their final numbers. So, yeah, you're leaning away, so I don't hear you as much, Brainy.
I do have to say something.
Let's hear. Let's hear. Blainer Walk. Yeah,
I do have to say something. Like, you know what, Nathan? Not Nathan.
Austin.
Obviously, the real winner of the debate was James, clearly. But the secondary winner would have had to have been Austin, because I mean, you didn't know what that electromagnetic resonance thing was. You know,
it's just made up crap.
You should have, if you wanted to win.
Electrostatics.
Yeah. If you wanted to win, you should have asked him something like there's a few things that you could have asked him. Like, you could have asked him, what is hydrothermic non-nuclear deconstructive interference?
Yeah.
Or just ask him what is Alden's number.
But
you know, one point we go ahead, sir.
He was confused when I gave the answer, right? Electrostatics is static charges, right? And so if you have a common ground, and he didn't understand it, this went right over his head. If you have a common ground, then there is no differential. They are at the same electrical potential. There is no force between them. He talked about Coulomb's law. It's about the force exerted on an object when there's a differential in the electrical charge. You need a differential in the electrical charge. When they're at the same ground, there's no differential. He didn't understand that.
You know, he would talk. A few times I would turn him to 3/4 speed, and he would sound normal. He would be talking normal all of a sudden. It was awesome.
Let me. I need to explain this. This is education time. So flat earthers talk about all sorts of different things, like magnetism is gravity. Well, lead is diamagnetic; it would float. It's somehow electrical, right? Which in a Faraday cage, right, electromagnetic, it would block that, right? So then things would float if it was electromagnetic. And then if it's electrostatic, all you need to do is connect it with the wire. You can easily test that by taking a metal object to the top of a ladder and drop it, and then connect a wire to that object, stick with the one end of the wire into the ground, and have the other end of it attached to that metal object and drop it. If it still goes down, then it's not electrostatics. He thought that the proof that it was electrostatics was just saying things. No empirical evidence, no manipulation of the independent variable that he talks about. Nothing at all. And to really do it, you'd need to output 9.8 meters per second squared, which he didn't even bother to attempt. A total fail. Every time flat earthers try to replace gravity, it's an absolute fail.
What's one of the other things I remember from the debate?
Oh yeah,
I have as much of a memory of
Mystery Night for the Children says, just mentioned it, talking about electrostatic, it doesn't know what a ground was. Absolutely, he doesn't know what that means.
I love. Oh my god. Yeah. You know, it's sad, eh? You'd love to see these people just tangle with some of the, like, you're so dumb, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, all right, here you go. Here's the panel, the electrical compartment to a rooftop unit. Figure out what's wrong. Here's your meter. Here's the breakers over there. You let me know if you want me to turn the power on and off at the panel. I'll just go be sitting in the van. It's like just like have fun, bud.
PJC net, electrostatic. You can run an electrostatic motor from the atmosphere.
I mean, I wish. Hey, have you seen that shit where people steal power by running a network underneath the high tension lines?
I talked about that a couple weeks ago. And
they totally have done it. People have done it here and managed to take power.
I would like to see a little more, because a lot of people talked about how that it's there's a lot of problems with it. One of the problems is that all the lines, if it's three-phase, there's three lines, they're all countering each other, so they cancel.
Yeah, but that's not what it was. It's an impedance that he's generating by what happened is the person ran a grid underneath the lines in the other direction, and they induced charge off those lines. So they ran, it's basically a transformer at that point, and you know damn well that would work. So they ran a grid underneath the power. Well, they were charging their batteries and it was generating enough power that they could charge the batteries and run off grid.
Send it. I'd like to see how they did that.
Well, I mean, it was many years ago. I know Hydro, it was a big lawsuit because Hydro came and gave him a bill for like $100,000 one day. And they were like, here's your bill. And he was like, why? And they're like, well, you've been stealing power for years. And there's a place I know of personally where the cow line, this is people we knew that owned a farm, and the power, they weren't really tall. They were like the not the really, really big high tension lines, but like the normal high tension lines that are going a long distance, like at the top of really big poles. And they had part of their fence for their electric fence system ran underneath because that was the edge of their property. It ran right underneath the one line, like right in line with it, like right.
You know somebody?
No, I've experienced what I'm about to explain is that they could not turn the fence off. Like it wouldn't be like fun. Like it wasn't the same as if it was on. Like if it was on, it was an electric fence because it was made to be an electric fence. But because it's isolated from the poles and all that kind of stuff. But when it was off, it would still generate enough zap that you would like touch it and you'd get a massive like static.
See, I could see
it would come off your finger.
I could see if the three lines are stacked vertically, the closest one is gonna have a stronger.
You don't need but you don't
hold
need
on. Then the other, right? If it's three phase, so then you're gonna get this because this isn't gonna have as much of a strength down there at the ground as this one is. So you will get a little differential there, but I don't know. All right.
It was just like it ran in line with it for a while, and near that area you could get a little like a tingle, and every once in a while a little snap off of it, and it was the thing. But you know what? Right. At the same time, though, thinking about it now, I mean, let's face it, that could be like a bleed through on the transformer system and stuff. So
true. All right. King Edward V says, I can't believe Whitsitt couldn't understand that surface radar actually sees the geometric horizon and can be used to get the actual radius of the Earth. Again, he is a science denier, right? I'll pull that up. Hold on. A science denier there. He has the first most important thing is that in both pseudoscience and science denialism, they work backward from the conclusion. So Austin starts every thought process with the Earth is flat, and so now how can I work with that? So if anything doesn't fit that, then he'll use denialism. And if anything he thinks supports it, he'll use pseudoscience.
Oh, I did remember something, Toon.
Wait, let me finish this though.
Oh, sorry.
Let me finish this. So the geometric horizon thing, and that radar sees it, he used science denialism. He went for the impossibly high standard of evidence for that. Now, no, it was just a guy in a super chat making a claim, so I could see that, right? And so if somebody were to make a claim like that to me in a super chat, I would just ask for the citation. So, all right, go ahead, Planar Walk.
Okay, so right near the start of the debate, I remember you talking about triangles, and one of the things that you do have to understand about flat earthers is they have so many issues with triangles. But one of the things that I don't think that was ever brought up again.
No, it wasn't.
I don't think that.
No.
Yeah,
it is Flurf kryptonite. They will never address these measurements. They cannot, because there are no assumptions. He actually declared that there were assumptions, but there are no assumptions in this. You measure the triangles. It's all that you have in the measurement is your horizontal angles. That's it. Horizontal angles. There's no other. You don't assume the earth is flat. You ask the question, is the earth flat? And the answer then comes when you look at if there is a spherical excess or not.
Yeah.
And
so one of the things maybe you should have tried to do is try, because wasn't it mostly Whitsitt and Kai bringing up the points?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe, because I do know that flat earthers, they love to try and go, okay, we're going to talk about this. And then once you've done talking about this, they're immediately like, as soon as you're on to the next topic, they're immediately like, okay, now we're going to talk about this. And this is something that a lot of people need to do, and myself included. When I debated Nathan, I should have been like, okay, hold on, we're going to talk about this now, rather than them just bring up the things that they want to talk about.
That
True.
might be an urban legend thing, this whole stealing power.
I kind of think it is an urban legend.
Yeah, but the one I know of happened. So whether or not that was a bleed through on the other side where it isolates, or, you know, it would go, like I said, it get like tingle out of it while it was off.
Yeah. Microraptor, this is good. They also don't get that if you assume a sphere and the Earth is actually flat, the math won't work. So, and that goes to their misunderstanding of science. How do you do science? You guess. You just take a guess. That's totally fine. And that guess can have 1,000 things in it. It can have the radius of the Earth, and it can have the position of planets and stars in it. And then you go and you compute the consequences of that guess. And if when you compare those consequences to observation, and if they don't match, the guess is wrong. Now you can do better than a guess by, having an educated guess or, whatever, but it's the hypothesis. And I say that because that is the actual word that Richard Feynman used. He says, how do you figure it out? You take a guess. So you can presume all you want in that guess.
I'd say that it would be better than just like taking a random guess. I'd say that one of the things that would be a good idea is to say more an educated guess, right?
Well, yeah, a guess. So the problem is that when you just make any old random guess, right, it's not a very good one. And it actually takes effort to compute the consequences and compare to observations. So it's much better to have a good guess than a bad guess. Right. So yes, an educated guess, right? And that's why when you look at like these kind of basic lists of how to, of the scientific method, right? The middle school version of the scientific method, the first step is often make an observation. You do that so that your hypothesis can be a good one. Right. And flat earthers, they treat that as dogma. They're like, oh, well, you have to see it with your eyes. That's what they mean. That's what the dogma of the scientific method means, that you have to see it with your eyes. No, that's not it at all. It's, I see this and I see this and all right, now let me think about that. Well, what does that probably mean? Okay, now I can have an observation, take those observations and construct the hypothesis with it.
Yeah, and then you make sure that the hypothesis stands test.
Yeah,
stands testing. Like, what is the natural consequence of this hypothesis?
And the other thing, and here's where they really mess this up, and why the quantum erasers science denialism is so powerful for flat earthers, is because he declares that part of it is proving things.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that goes contrary to a hypothesis that you go falsify or don't falsify, because When you make a hypothesis and then don't falsify it, it doesn't prove it. It just leaves it as a possibility. It's never certain, and they love to say that science is certain. And here's Feynman on that.
And that makes the science uncertain. If you thought before that science was certain, well, that's just an error on your part.
If you thought that science was certain, that's an error on your part. Feynman, okay? Richard Feynman. So quantum eraser, a not scientist, thinks he's more very, very expert than Richard Feynman. No,
I'm
not.
melting in spot here. I gotta go, guys.
All right. Thank you, Brainy. Thank you for hosting.
No, I appreciate you having
and
me.
We'll see you.
Appreciate offering me to me, and Planner, thank you for coming. I sent out invites to so many people and nobody joined me. To Planner Walk. Thank you, buddy. Anyways, so yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, MC's audience, and yeah, I'm gonna go and collapse into a bed.
All right.
I'm tired. Okay.
Take care.
Awesome.
Bye. Thanks. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
He can do the refrigeration thing that everyone was talking about, because if he's melting.
All right. So what were you were going to say something?
I was just saying about before. Yeah, I was going to say something about so when you do experiments, what you're really doing is you're gathering evidence. You're gathering evidence. The way that I see it, at least, is you're gathering evidence for or against a position. So for example, if you go ahead and take an observation, you might be gathering evidence for the curvature of the Earth or against the curvature of the Earth. And just because you managed to show that in a photo that the Earth apparently has no curvature, that doesn't mean that Earth has no curvature all of a sudden, like they think that with the black swan.
Yeah.
What it means is that there's evidence against there could be some evidence against the idea. Now,
actually,
you
it's a measurement of the radius of the Earth with a really, really big margin of error.
Yeah. And what you can do is you can go, okay, well, let's see if this is consistent, right? And you take the same measurement again and again, and you find that the more common measurement is when things are disappearing behind the horizon.
Yeah. It shows his lack of understanding in how he explained Al-Biruni. So people that don't know, Al-Biruni went to a mountain, he measured the dip of the horizon over and over and over again. And because refraction affects that, he got varying measurements. And what he did is he threw out the outliers, which is exactly what you do, right? To somebody that doesn't understand how these things statistically work, they're like, oh, that outlier is the important one. No, that outlier tells you that there's probably something wrong with that measurement. So it's very reasonable to throw it out. Now, if you take lots and lots of measurements and instead just get a statistical average, outliers will increase your standard deviation, which is fine too. You could just do that. I like how Microraptor put it. I think that's good. I think it would be accurate to say science is more about removing impossible explanations than finding the correct one. Yeah, that's a way to look at it. So if you look at, I've done a lot of reading lately on Francis Bacon, on Karl Popper, and some of the newer, kind of nuances on the how science works type things. And Karl Popper was a science philosopher that was super, super rigid on falsification. And some people were kind of in his camp, but I think but in general, people are like, well, he kind of brought it to its logical end and it was a bit too far. So, a Stringer News 1 for $5 says, want to confuse a flat earther? Ask where spherical bearings come from on a flat earth. Spherical bearings. I think that's because bearings are often made by dropping droplets of liquid metal in a tall tower, and gravity pulls them down.
Okay.
And I bet that they're probably in an evacuated chamber too. So when they talk about relative density, it doesn't work. When you've evacuated the air out of the chamber, why is there still? Why does it still go? And then the spinach. Hold on. The spinach Inquisition says, "Ha ha! I bet you didn't expect me." Well, I agree. Nobody expects the spinach Inquisition.
Very, very true.
King Ed V, I am the citation. I used radar in the Navy. I was an ATC and used radar daily. The distance to the horizon was always just under 14.5 miles away because of how high the radar platform is. I love that. Here's what I'd love. I would love to take that, some citations, some actual links to that, and put it on my website. If we can get any of those. King Edward V. I would love that. So send them to me, email, or find me on Discord or Facebook. Links are in the video description.
I had a thought about something. Oh, you just got another super chat.
Well, all right. I want to go with this guy though first. Gauden's Reiber says, did I read... Gauden speaks German and I don't. So I'm going to get this wrong. Ludwig von Wittgenstein. How'd I do? Did I read? I did not. But is that another philosopher on science? I will.
I love the philosophy of science.
Yeah. Oh, that is philosophy of math, philosophy of mind, language. Yeah, I will look into that. I got the there. Okay. And I'll read this from Mystery for the Night for the Children. Flurfs, if the Earth is flat, why did mankind ever develop spherical mathematics? You know, you ever hear when they're like, well, we haven't had enough time to figure out things. Wait a second. Didn't you just say, flat earthers, that all ancient cultures thought the Earth was flat before they thought it was a globe? You guys have been around longer than us. And we've figured things out and you haven't. You know why?
Didn't you realize that the ancients were like something different, and America, the history of the world started with America, really?
Well, I mean, I can't argue that, right? America. Driving around in our Chevy truck, shooting at street signs. It's in an upcoming video.
Okay.
I was looking for if anybody can find this, I'd love it. A video of people in a pickup truck shooting at street signs. I would love to include that in my video. I found just a guy shooting at street signs. Not nearly as fun. All right, you were going to say something though.
Yeah, I was going to say something about, because one of the things that flat earthers have a lot of trouble with understanding is when it comes to the density of a helium balloon, or when it comes to Earth pulling down a helium balloon, why a helium balloon rises instead of goes down, right? And the reason as to why a helium balloon rises isn't because gravity is not acting upon it. It's because gravity is acting upon everything else, and everything else can push it, so just push it away with effortlessly.
Yeah, all that they do when they bring up the helium balloon is declare that they are dumb. That's exactly all they're doing. You're not disproving gravity. You are showing that you don't understand. It's probably just middle school science is all it is, right? Certainly not high school, maybe elementary, depending on.
It's all to do with forces, which they really don't understand, because there is a force acting upon the helium balloon, but due to G m1 m2 over r, right?
Yeah.
That force is proportional to the mass of the helium balloon. And because the helium balloon has less mass, that means that there's less force acting upon it. Now, when it comes to the air that's being pulled down, that has more force being applied to it. And the force of the air being pulled down can push away push the helium balloon up. And because the helium balloon has less mass, which means that there's less force needed to act upon it, and B, less gravitational force acting against the buoyancy force due to the air, it gets pushed up. Very simple.
Well, all right. Listen to this.
Geometric horizon. 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 The geometric horizon. 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 Geometric horizon.
That's a good one.
He just demands that. It's like it's just a straw man. It's the physical, right? He's like, you should physically see the physical horizon. No, well, we optically see everything. It's all optically modified. And then in the same video, he went on and on about refraction. Like,
yeah, like
just ignores it.
When it comes to what me and Nathan had a bit of a disagreement a while back, Nathan Oakley, right? And one of the whole thing that Nathan focused on throughout this disagreement was, I said that nobody actually claims that you see the physical horizon, the geometric horizon. What we see is we see an apparent horizon, and that apparent horizon is based on the, the geometric horizon. It's not like we have like giant planks of wood coming out from our eyes.
It's just if there was no horizon, you could not see it. We see it. You can only see it if there is a horizon. Now we see a modified version of it. That doesn't mean that it's a wrong version of it. You can still, as he said, control the variables. But he doesn't understand even that, even though he talked about IV, DV, CV, control variables. He doesn't even understand what a control variable is. They never include it. Never.
And he completely ignored the point that I made about the oil rigs, because the oil rigs, they were in wonky shapes. So because they're wonky shapes, does that mean that the oil rigs don't exist? Are we seeing the apparent oil rigs, or are we actually seeing the actual oil rigs?
You know what? I got one thing to say to that. Yeah, gotcha. What do you think about that, bro?
Sounds good, bro.
Bro.
Can you believe people let me come stay at their house?
I used to use that one in a video.
I think they used to have like it was so sad that Nathan had to ruin that bromance there.
Oh, I know they had. I mean, I'm sure
they had a really good thing going.
I'm sure KY is happy though. But I mean,
yeah.
Lael says 6,500 years ago, Egyptians had trig. Why is there a flat Earth model if they believed the Earth was flat? Why isn't there a flat Earth model if they believe the Earth was flat?
It's a good question.
Absolutely. And
there is a flat Earth model. There is. It's the turtle with the elephants on the back with the Earth on the back. That's the flat Earth model.
I hate that. That's why I love it.
Maybe we need to like bring that up a bit more.
Well, I sometimes use it in thumbnails.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've
So-
seen that.
So yeah, I was this guy Nicholas Pitts on Facebook last like Wednesday kind of suggested like he might come for a debate. And he's like, well, what evidence are you going to bring? Like, it's a debate. You want me to give you my evidence before? Okay, fine. I'll do that. So I actually sent him my evidence. One is a measurement of the distance between lines of longitude near Melbourne, Australia, right? A place where people can confirm. And the other is predicting the downward force, right? So science, you calculate the consequences of your guess or your hypothesis. So if F equals G M1 M2 over R squared is correct, and if the Earth is a certain size, and if the Earth is rotating, then at different points there will be varying downward acceleration because of those combined things. That's the hypothesis. So we could test that by going to different places and testing the downward force to see if it varies like the prediction does. It does. So I sent him that, and he's like, you didn't send me any evidence. Like, so he's just trying to back out. He's just plugging his ears and saying la 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 because he doesn't want to debate.
Yeah. One of the things though that I think is actually a good idea is I really think that it's a good idea to share evidence before a debate, because a lot of people treat debates as this kind of gotcha, you know. I remember I was actually, funnily enough, I was actually watching Destiny a while back, and I think it might have been the Lauren Southern versus, he was watching a debate. I think it was either Lauren Southern versus Zanderhall or Lauren Southern versus Hunter Avallone. One of the two debates that they were watching. Anyway, what happened is Destiny brought up a point how a lot of people go into debates trying to bring that gotcha bit of evidence. Whereas what you should do is you should try and bring the evidence along beforehand and, you know, to show to your opponent. Then before the debate, you get to read through all the evidence rather than it being one of them things where you got to go, okay, you know, here's my evidence. And, you know, the other person's not going to, if you just show like a whole big thing of evidence, the other person's not going to have time in a debate to go ahead and read all that evidence and properly respond to all that evidence.
Yeah, I agree. But here's the thing. No flat earthers ever bought actual evidence. So it's not a real debate. Right? We know that. It's not a real debate. That FDFE always puts debate in quotes. It is just an opportunity to expose their misunderstanding of things. Give them a chance to show how dumb flat earth is. That's what this is about. It's one of the things we do. It's also entertainment for intelligent people to watch a flat earther just say stupid things, right? So I have tried that a couple times. 3 times. I did two for sure. I've given all of my stuff to the flat earther beforehand. They ran away. That's what they do. They don't have. I think what happens is they look at that and like, I can't respond to it. I have nothing, so they leave. So yeah, when I was on vacation and I was in the park and this was like dark and it looked like I was just trolling, I sent the guy stuff ahead of time. So I don't know if you saw that, but I sent him the prediction for the sunrise angle from Sydney, Australia, right? On the globe. I said, I tried this tactic. so that I don't strawman the flat earth, I won't at this time make a prediction using the flat earth for the sunrise angle. You do that. You know what he did in the debate? He said, oh, it would be the same as a globe. That was his answer. How mindless can this be? That's how mindless it can be. It's obviously not. It cannot be the same. You can't just say it's the same, right? You need to compute the consequences of your prediction, of your hypothesis. And he didn't.
Then the only, like, what I dislike about a lot of flat earthers is they try and make the flat earth model unfalsifiable, right? And it's one of these things where if something is unfalsifiable, then it's useless, right? In any practical sense. Yeah. The globe earth model is falsifiable. And the reason why it hasn't been proven wrong is because it seems to be the correct explanation.
They're garbage attempts at falsifying it. And I mean, Austin, he thinks that one falsification would do it when there are thousands of falsifications of flat earth. The sun could never set. They just laughed when you said this, when we said the sun could never set. Like, Austin, you just don't understand 8th grade math. You just didn't demonstrate that.
And didn't they say that it was 70 miles high?
They did.
Oh, that is so 70.
It is dumb. It is so dumb.
Yeah, because like, how would that even? I'm gonna do something. So, what would you say the angular size of the sun is when it's?
It's about half a degree.
Half a degree. Okay. Let me bring up an angular size calculator, and you talk to the chat or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Also,
didn't you Sheba Flurf once saying it was literally in the clouds? Oh, debate Flurf? Yeah, 7 miles up. he retracted that message because he wrote it wrong. Yeah. I've had a couple flat earthers claim, and Quincy Carr has claimed that it's in the clouds, so it can only be a few miles up. But that's easy to falsify. If it were only 7 miles up, then somewhere else in the world where the sun is up, you would definitely not see it there, right? And if it's only 7 miles up, it seems that close. It would have to be north of the Tropic of Cancer. None of it, right? You just start testing these things and they don't work. PhD Tony says, if there were one really solid observation, what would do the trick? But it would have to be emphatic. Yeah, I agree. It would have to be really good. And you certainly could. Really good one that really actually controlled the conflating variables, instead of doing the opposite of that. It would, but there's such an abundance of flat earth falsifications that they just hand wave away that. He's like, none of that matters. The thousands of tests of flat earth that fail don't matter because this one thing that didn't happen very well does it. No, I'm sorry. What's your vector? What's your vector, Victor? I saw that Victor Crute was in here. I was hoping he'd be in here now. Poor Victor. 8 miles away from the unique perspective of the observer. And that is wrong. It can't be 8 miles away from word of the observer. It doesn't actually do that. It's a physical object, PJCnet. It sends light and heat to us. And people have bounced radar off it. It took almost 1,000 seconds for the radar to come back. That's it. Seif says it's Flurf logic. It looks that way, so it is. Yeah, that's the thing. And of course, the it's in the clouds. Oh, there's clouds behind it. It's so lame. Like, then the planes fly higher than the clouds, so the planes would have to somehow not hit the sun. All right, Mr. Sleepy, for last name, let's see. Middle name King, first name Sofa, for $5 says, blasphemy, shooting at street signs. My religion as a pedestrian shows disrespect to the leader pedexing. He has signs all around the globe. I remember asking my dad when I was young, what does pedexing mean? And then not quite getting, like, he's like, well, ped is pedestrian. Like, okay. What does that mean? Like, he just gave me, it means pedestrian crossing. And that was the end of it. Like, I don't know what pedestrian means.
So
Okay.
I figured out that with a sun that's 70 miles high, that at 3 p.m. at the equator, right, the sun should be a 45th of the size that it would be at noon.
Yep.
So the sun should appear 45 times larger at noon than at 3 p.m. or 9 a.m. if it is 70 miles high.
And then they show a picture of glare.
Yeah.
All right. RES says, stop strawmanning their argument. They believe in a local personal sun. Get it right. That follows you around, or some BS like that. Yeah. That's it. It's just made up stuff. And again, they ignore the science. What is the consequence of that? Well, what would be the consequence of everybody has their own local sun, right? It would be unique for every location. Well, how does that work? Is it not a physical object? Where does the light and heat come from? It generates it somehow. How did you test this? How did you manipulate the independent variable to confirm this? It didn't. It did nothing. It's just a vague description of how they want things to happen.
How Gordon Reiber got it right. The sun is a portal. Gosh. It's an interdimensional portal, like Flat Earth Aussie Jesus says.
I know. Lael has words for you. He says, planar walk, there is no flat Earth model for two simoleons. Round Thinker says the answer is God. Yeah, and that's basically it. All of their explanations require a whole bunch of supernatural things to be happening, right? What keeps the sun aloft? We don't know and don't need to know. Yes, you do. Why?
I figured out an explanation for why it's kept aloft. It's hung to essentially what it has is it's got a piece of string that hangs it on the dome.
And there's a track.
No, it's just a piece of string that what happens is there's a piece of string that holds the sun onto the dome, right? And the sun sort of over the year sort of just does a sort of figure eight, right? And that's the only way that the sun moves, right? It just does a figure eight for the what's the thing that it does? Analemma, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the rest of the time, it's the Earth that moves.
But they say the Earth doesn't move.
Well, they have a lot more problems if the Earth is not moving because...
Do you know why they say the Earth doesn't move?
Oh, it's because of their misunderstanding of the centrifugal force.
No, the flat earthers that are adamant about the Earth not moving versus the flat earthers that say the Earth is accelerating upwards, because there are some.
Yeah.
They are the religiflurfs, right? They start with the conclusion that the Earth is flat because they say the Bible says the Earth is flat.
Mhm.
That's why. And then they interpret the Bible to say that the earth is stationary as well. So when they say, well, the Flat Earth Society is controlled opposition, they say that because anybody that says the earth is moving is contradicting the religifleur version that it comes from the Bible. Therefore, they must be fake flat earthers put there by the government to sow misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
That's how.
Yeah, it's one of them things where flat earthers will actively shoot themselves in the foot by saying, okay, well, if this explanation explains things better, we're not going to use it because it would get rid of some of our other arguments, or it goes against the Bible, or this, that, and the next thing. It's like, you could explain things so much better if you just make the earth spin. Even on a flat earth, a spinning earth makes more sense.
Yeah. It does, but remember, it's the flat earthers that are religious flirts, which is most of them, from what I've seen. They have the, they reverse the order of science. I'll bring it back up here. It is that they, let's see. There it is.
PJC Net in the chat just said the accelerating upwards Earth is controlled opposition. I've been on their forums and the mods attack flat earthers.
Yep. See, exactly. So yeah, we're back to this science versus pseudoscience and science denial. Right, works backward from the desired conclusion. So their desired conclusion is that the Earth is stationary, because they have a religious interpretation of the Bible. And let me see, where'd it go? Round Thinker is in here. Round Thinker, who reads Hebrew natively as his first language, says, but the Bible doesn't say none of these. They misinterpret the Bible. I completely agree. But to give them, to give everybody the opportunity to interpret the Bible however they want, which is basically what everybody does, you're still coming at it from the wrong direction. If the Bible says one thing, then you go see if that's correct, instead of the Bible says one thing and it absolutely must be correct, and I'm going to ignore if it's not.
Yeah, it's like I've seen some people say, if the Bible said 2 + 2 is 5, I'd believe it and try and understand it. It's like, really? If the Bible said 2 + 2 is 5, you're just going to believe that rather than saying, like, there's so many explanations for why that could be the case. Maybe someone wrote something down incorrectly, and,
Yeah.
There's like, even a lot of people, what they do is they think that the Bible is infallible, even though it was written by humans. And you don't have to get rid of your religion just because there's something that's incorrect in the Bible, or something that you understand incorrectly, or one of the multiple.
It's their personal interpretation is incorrect. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And other people have differing interpretations of it. Never mind, it's the huge majority. It doesn't need to be the huge majority.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, 100% of people could think that the Bible did say that the earth is flat. It doesn't change that the earth is not flat. You just go measure it.
Yeah, it's like, I'm pretty sure there are some errors in the Bible, but let's take one of the ones that they tend to misinterpret. So, and that is the whole firmament thing. They seem to think that the firmament is a dome. Now, let's pretend that the Bible actually says that there's a dome, right? It's like, well, that could just be that, the people that wrote the Bible or translated the Bible, should I say, they thought, oh, this means dome, and put dome down.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable explanation.
Yeah. And here we have a religious flurf. PJC Net say, well, if you are a Christian, you should either believe in the Bible or not. The Bible does teach flat earth and definitely not evolution either. And that, PJC Net, is your opinion. It is not necessarily the right opinion. And I would say there are many people that disagree with you. And your opinion isn't any more right than their opinion on it. That's the key. You think, PJC Net, that your opinion is the only one that matters, and everyone else's that differs from your opinion is wrong. And that is narcissism.
Okay, I have to point out that at least PJC Net is more honest than with Witsit, because they just said, we don't really know there's a dome. They then went on to say, but there is something that prevents us traveling beyond a certain point. But that's more honest than what Witsit.
Witsit has brought himself to the logical position that he cannot claim anything about the flat earth, because he knows every claim that he can make about flat earth can be tested and has already been disproven.
Yeah.
So, the Scythe, did I bring any dressing for the Witsit debate? Yes, blue cheese. This is a good one. I will answer this. Microraptor, I have a possibly too personal question. As a Christian, how important is the Bible to you? Does it hold any truths to you that no other book has? So that's a great question. And does it have truths that no other book has? Well, it is distinct from other books. Other books don't claim, or at least I don't pay any credence to the claim that it is somehow influenced by a supernatural being. So if it is influenced by a supernatural being, then it would stand different than any other book. And I think it is. So does it have truths that no other book has? It makes claims about supernatural things and about the afterlife. So that's different than other books. And I've come to accept that those are the case. And I could be wrong. I am fine with that. But if you read the Bible, the Apostle Paul talks about, if we're right, this. If we're wrong, this. And I think he's taking a very honest position there, saying we could be wrong. And if we are, here are the ramifications of it. So I think that's a fair position to be in.
And as someone, I'm also going to give my opinion as someone who is non-religious. I think that the Bible does have some interesting stories in it. Like one of the stories that I actually really like the story. And that is the story of, it sort of happens before the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. You know that story, right?
Yep.
In Genesis? Yeah. So I can't remember the name of the characters, but anyway, one of the characters was talking to God. And God says that, that he's going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And this person says, well, what if there's, I think it was either 50 or 100 good people? Would you destroy it? And then God thinks for a bit and goes, no, I will not destroy it. And then he says, okay, what about 40?
Well, but God, they looked. Or no, did they not look?
I think God sent a couple of angels to the city to decide if there was any good. But like the moral of the story that I get from that is that if there we shouldn't just assume that because a place is considered evil, right, that every person in that place is evil and is deserving of the same outcome of everything else. So, like, if you have let's take, for example, terrorist organizations in hospitals, right? In children's hospitals. You shouldn't bomb the hospital because there's a lot of good people in that hospital. And so that's the moral of that's the moral that I get from that story. And I think that it's a story that a lot of people kind of just don't really think too much about. They tend to take the wrong moral message from that story, in my opinion.
Yeah. In your opinion, absolutely, yeah. Let's see, what is PJC? So PJC, here's the deal. You are coming at it the wrong way. You are going through pseudoscience because you have started with the conclusion and you're working the other way around instead of just looking at the evidence to try to figure things out and understand how things actually work. So, let's see. Truth Nerds for 5 euros says, like many things, Oriental poetry, like in the book of Job or Psalms, is lost on flurfs. It's a very different style compared to, for example, the Gospels. Yeah. And have you looked at the like Nathan Roberts and all them, the 200 verses that they like to cite?
I haven't looked at all the verses.
so I've looked at them. It's to say that it's grasping at straws is way too generous. They're like, talks about the face of the earth, and they're like, oh well, a face of a cube is flat, therefore the earth is flat. Seriously. But hold on a second. My face is on this thing that's definitely not flat. I would say it's probably closer to a sphere, though it's rather oblate, than, or the opposite of oblate. Anyway, it's than a flat surface. How much of a stretch is that? So they like to quote that, but they don't actually like. There isn't 200 that are even close.
I'd one thing that I'd love to do, although I don't know if I'll ever be able to get to do it, is I'd love to have Kent Hovind versus Nathan Thompson.
Oh, that'll never happen.
On whether the Bible proves that the earth is flat. And obviously Nathan Thompson will say yes, obviously Kent Hovind will say no. And they can both bring their SpongeBobs.
I would love to see it. I mean, Kent would have to get out of jail. Is he out of jail?
Let me check. I think that he is.
You should do that. That would be epic. So Nathan is a religiflurf, and so he says firmament, and so thinks there's a dome. And his buddy, Flat Earth Millionaire. Well, Flat Earth Millionaire is a blood over intent cultist flat earther.
Oh.
Very much contradictory to any Christian teachings. It all comes from that quasi-luminous who literally calls himself Lucifer, and says that they're going to go to the North Pole and bring with them the Spear of Destiny that he claims to have, and they're going to unlock the portal in Mount Meru that goes through to to Hyperborea inside the Earth, which is paradise. They're going to go there and enter the portal, but only the people that did the blood over intent cult blood magic thing get to do it.
Maybe that actually explains a lot. Like, No wonder we haven't heard from our good buddy Flat Out Hero.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously he's gone to paradise.
Oh, he has. He's on his trip. Yeah, Flat Out Hero was a blood over intent cultist as well.
Yeah. I honestly haven't heard from Flat Out Hero in ages.
I've tried to contact him. I want to bring him back, and I know he's hard up for money, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I can help you out. I would. Here's the plan. People. Don't tell him. I'll tell him that I'll give him half the super chats. And then at the end, I'll be like, oh, well, here it is. I'm going to give you whatever. And then I'll get a piece of paper. And I will forgive him of that portion of the $100,000 he owes me. Oh, I would love to do that. Right there, I'll be like, oh, here you go. And hold up the piece of paper saying that he doesn't have to pay me back for that portion of it. Can you imagine? He's so angry.
His last upload was MC Toon. I'm so sorry I apologize for believing you're honest and true. First lie equals worst lie, so why? And it's like, and that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gone quiet.
So Flat Out Hero could have actually done quite well on for a flurf on YouTube, right? Because most flat earthers don't actually do all that well on YouTube. Yet Flat Out Hero, he was getting heaps of views back then.
Yeah.
And then he just dropped off the face of the earth. He could have monetized his channel if he wanted to.
I don't think he could have monetized his channel.
I think that he could have, and then he might have been able to. At the very least, he could have said to YouTube, "Hey, look, I need to monetize my channel because if I don't monetize my channel, I'm not going to be able to pay MC Toon the money that I owe."
Awesome. So I did this. I'm going to pull this up, and then maybe we'll get moving here. I was listening to. What's his name? That guy that I debated tonight, Austin. Listening to him and his street preaching about flat Earth, and you have to accept the flat Earth into your heart to get into heaven stuff. So as he does these things, he does this shotgun bunch of claims, and none of them are correct. So I started, I do the actual investigation that he doesn't do. So he likes to quote Einstein. He says, and here's the quote that they use: "I have come to believe that the motion of the earth cannot be detected by any optical experiment." And then they stop. In fact, that they don't even do that. They paraphrase it and make it much more broad. They said, Einstein said, blah, blah, can't be rotated, can't, whatever. I said, I know that's a lie, because the rest of the sentence is, though the earth is revolving around the sun. If you're going to quote somebody, quote at least one whole sentence. Don't chop the sentence in half. So anyway, this is mctoon.net/FE lies. It's just a short list of things. So he likes to, Austin says the first Selenelian eclipse was in 1666. Because it's got all these sixes in it. He likes to point that out. But no, it wasn't the first one. It wasn't when it was first discovered. And here I have a source that said Pliny the Elder wrote about it. Hipparchus and Cleomedes also wrote about it many centuries ago. So no, he didn't look it up.
Well, you see, MC Toon, the actual first recorded Selenelian eclipse was in the year 666.
1666 is not the number that he wants it to be either anyway.
True.
So, all right. They're like, NASA gave Holland petrified wood instead it was moon rocks. No, NASA did not give it to Holland. The way that it got into the guy's hand is a little murky, but it was not from NASA because NASA wasn't giving away moon rocks in 1969. It wasn't until 1972 that they did it. And they did give, not Holland, the Netherlands. I'm sorry that Flurfs call your country Holland. They gave the Netherlands a moon rock later. An actual one. So
Okay.
this is, all you got to do is a little bit of investigation. They like to claim that no astronauts would swear on the Bible that they went to the moon. Right? Well, it's back to the Bible here. The Bible says you're not supposed to swear on anything. So would you think that somebody that believes the Bible would swear on the Bible? No, you would not expect that because the Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything else comes from the evil one. But 3 of them did swear on the Bible. 3 of them. So when a flat earther says none of them would swear in the Bible, they're just lying. And then Robert Simmons in Photoshop, which they did bring up tonight, but we didn't get to talk about.
I should have had the Flurf bingo up.
Yeah, I don't have any more. I used them all, and I haven't been into work to print out more. I don't have a printer at home here. They like to say that Robert Simmons claimed that there are no pictures that are not CGI. That's what they lie that aggressively. Right? And then they say, well, the only picture that they say that is before then is the 1972 blue marble. No. There's 15,000 pictures from the Apollo missions. Many, many of them have the Earth in it. There's just one that they liked a lot. Just freaking
I actually saw something. I might have been a super chat in modern day debates, but I can't remember your answer to it. And that was, do you have any video of the Earth spinning or something? And there's like, I've seen video of the Earth spinning. Himawari this is a good one.
Yeah, and these people that are not forensic video experts suddenly declare themselves to be forensic video experts. That they can just look at it and say, well, that's obviously fake. How did you analyze it? You didn't analyze it. And you got PJCnet right here again. There's so much evidence they didn't go to the moon. Well, PJCnet, there's 15,000 photographs from the moon. They're not all from the moon. Go ahead, provide the analysis of all 15,000 of them that they're fake. You can't. You won't even try it. You think that talking about something else disproves it. It does not.
That's right.
There he goes. PJCnet just lied and said every single photo on the moon is fake. That's a lie.
What is your PJCnet? What's your evidence for?
Evidence. It's your kryptonite, PJCnet. Your kryptonite is evidence. You don't have any. Who did the analysis to conclude all 15,000 of those photos?
I often see a lot of people that will try and bring evidence for their thing. Like their analysis will be some shitty thing in paint,
Yeah.
And it's like it'll be like, oh, like here's some paint lines that show like line, and the lines are going in different directions, and it's like, okay, so there's a lot of stuff we can talk about here, like what is the angles, it's never goes beyond lines.
Yeah. I love when they're like, well, the shadows are at the wrong angle. There's obviously 2 different light sources. And here's the problem. 2 different light sources would mean that each object casts 2 different shadows.
Yeah.
Right there, you're done.
Yeah.
So PJCnet loves to lie. Like all flat earthers, It is the foundation of his religion.
Oh, and another thing is they'll only apply that analysis to one photo that they think will prove their point. Never mind all the other photos that have the light source going. You know, you've got two objects, the camera's in between those two objects, and the sun is behind the camera. And the light source the apparent way that the shadows will be moving is towards each other, right? Which is due to perspective. And you cannot get that in a studio. You just can't. Light source will be going away from each other.
All right, so safety cases, I use two lights when I want no shadows. It says that two light sources means zero shadows. That's depending on the angles of the lights. But if so they like to claim that there's two objects, right? And that you see a shadow here and a shadow here, and they think they don't line up, so that there must be a light here and a light here. Well, I got to move it around, right? This would cast a shadow. This light would cast a shadow on this object and this object, and there'd be a shadow behind it. And then another one from this other angle. There'd be one kind of triangular shadow that's darkest, and two less dark shadows going from each one, right? At least from those particular angles. So what's their source that it's Photoshop? NASA? And they say NASA lies, so it's not Photoshopped. And if NASA were trying to use the picture to trick us, why would they admit it? None of this logic makes sense.
Yeah, it's like NASA lies, but we can trust NASA about what NASA
Here. Again, I'm starting to think that PJC Net is a Poe here by lying so much. Right? He said that it was directed by Stanley Kubrick. Tell you, if it was, here's the deal. Stanley Kubrick was an absolute perfectionist. He would have demanded that it actually be filmed on the moon. Right? What about all the missing tracks for the moon rover? You changed the subject. You have 15,000 photographs to provide forensic evidence for. You see how you deflected there, PJC? We're onto your tricks. But no, there's no missing tracks.
I mean, maybe he's talking about the fact that it had no music or something.
No music. Oh, no musical tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a silent movie.
I mean, yeah, on the moon you wouldn't be able to have any music, so.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, taking whatever Wednesday says I missed it. Who won? Well, the Earth is a globe. So,
well,
there you go.
James won.
James did win. Definitely, James won tonight. He had to cut off the super chats.
Yeah, there were a lot of super chats. Like I was wondering,
Austin got all the pockets triggered. So.
Yeah. It's like it is really amazing how many super chats they got, and like I was seeing it, I was like, wait, like is it that every time a super chat gets answered, there's two new super chats?
Yeah. Oh, and every time, and I just type it into the chat. At least he didn't do what Nathan, his mentor, did. And just say cool story, bro, every time he didn't like it. He deflected and said, well, we falsified the globe every time. Right? He went back to the Black Swan. He loves the Black Swan, and he hates to include refraction.
Yeah. But as we all know, if you find a black swan, that means that there are no white swans.
That's right. Something like that. So, well, all right. I think we should get going. It's been good. I'm going to watch the watch party. So Mute donkey. PJC
Make sure
do
we
you
didn't
have
say too many bad
Yes.
words, right?
You will be punished. Do you have any evidence, PJC Net from Mute Donkey? Maybe you could bring it on my show on a Tuesday. I've asked him before. I don't think he's quite got it in him. So anyway, Planar Walk. Thank you very much. Got anything to say before we get going?
I guess I should probably shill myself, shouldn't I? YouTube.com/planarwalk.
There you go. Gowdens asked, should you watch it on Modern Day Debate? I don't know how much of it was audible because of Brainy and Planar Walk talking, but I don't know. It's the same crap from Austin. So yeah. Anyway, well, thank you everybody. It's Labor Day weekend. I'm working on house projects. I'll have something for you Tuesday, definitely. And I'm hoping to have a new Mark Steele video, a new video on a new crazy person next week. I've filmed it all. I just have to finish editing. So coming out, be looking for that. It's a 20 to 30 minutes. It's a longer one. The guy's crazy though. Super, super crazy. Love it. So, all right, everybody. We'll see you later.